This is Dormouse03 continuing my Max Payne 3 old school walkthrough, and this is chapter 10. And so there are a couple of tricky spots in this chapter. It's not as easy as chapter 9 or as short, but it's not super lengthy either, and a good bit of time is some on-rail stuff and then a shootout at the end. So you want to just stay where you are at the beginning and take out these guys, and I'm going to comment on a couple of places here, but I want to use some of this playthrough to talk about the differences that I've been noticing between this playthrough and my hardcore playthrough, because I have seen some significant differences in which spots seem to be difficult for various reasons on both of those two difficulty settings. So areas that were challenging for this playthrough were sometimes not as challenging on the hardcore playthrough, and sometimes I think that's because I've played through this and I sort of know the best spots and what to expect, and other times I think it's just due to the mechanics. So when I think that it's due to the mechanics, I want to comment on that. So this part right here, this woman, Giovanna, is really dumb. I mean, snipers are shooting at her. What is she doing? She won't stay in cover. She's sort of flailing about there, and I just don't get it. But in any case, you can fail here, because I have before. If you don't kill these guys right away, they will shoot her because she's an idiot. So you want to turn through that window and kill them really quickly. There's no other enemies on this section right here. I have fun with the camera right then. But, so yeah, I thought other guys came out, but they don't. Those are the last two in this area. And then the next area is sort of challenging, but you'll see the strategy that I use here that worked the best for me. So, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to have a chance to talk about the differences, the different spots between hardcore and old school in this guide, because, or in this video, because as I'm remembering, there are a couple of tricky spots, and I do want to talk some strategy right here. So right off the bat, you want to shoot this sniper up there, because he will one-shot kill you, and it's not fun. And then the best thing that I found to do, and it might take you a couple of tries to get up here, and I have to use a painkiller on the way, but I head straight ahead toward this little gas station area with the booth and everything, and I use my bullet time and I clear up those guys, and there's a painkiller on the shelf right there, which I'm gonna promptly use. But yeah, it might take you a couple of tries to get into this area, but once you get in here, you can manage the situation. Or at least I found that this was the best spot to do it, because I tried different ways. I tried going over to the right. I tried hiding in the concrete blocks, and none of those places worked for me. I just kept getting killed too fast, and they shoot you too quickly for you to be able to manage your painkillers really efficiently in that section. Because if it was just a matter of sort of doing what I'm doing now and picking people off from any other spot, you can manage your painkiller use pretty well and get through, but I just got shot too quickly anywhere else that I went on this map, and it just wasn't good. So there are guys still alive, and I was messing with swapping my weapons out here. And so if you shoot those, if you shoot the gas tanks, they explode nicely. And I don't think it killed anyone, but I just wanted to see the explosion. Whatever. So there are a couple guys here, and I'm going to try to peek my way around here. And there's the one. And I guess they will eventually come to you, but they weren't getting over there fast enough for my liking, so I sort of pushed this area a little bit. But that is the best spot for that situation, which was challenging for me. And like I said, it may take you a couple of times to make it over into this area without getting killed. Sometimes even when I went to shoot the sniper at the beginning, I got killed. But that was the place that I found was easier to hole up and let them sort of come to you. So, yep. But yeah, I'm going to take a second here because I think I walk around a little bit and pick up some weapons. To say that there is a room coming up that was challenging for me when I went through the first time, but it wasn't as challenging this time. And right here, I did this section a couple of times because I wanted to get that achievement, which you will see. Where you kill all the guys riding down on this chain. So you just shoot them as they are coming through the door, and that can be kind of tricky because you don't have a lot of time and there are a lot of them, but it can be done. Try to go for headshots and you'll get it. And then this is the room where I felt like it was easier to manage this time. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was still challenging, but I think I died so many times when I did this part right here on hard that I had sort of learned what I was doing. So you want to try to use the contextual things that you can trigger, like these buses falling down when you can. So if you try to wait for guys to get up underneath them and then shoot the buttons, and they will squish whoever is running underneath. And there's another one to your right. So that guy right there, if he ran over to the right to try to flank me, I could hit that button, which I hit by mistake just then. But so if anyone tries to flank you over there, you can crush them with that bus. But this spot can be tricky, and the only advice that I really have for you is to stay in this spot as much as you can. And that guy tossed a damn grenade, and so I had to get out of my cover, which wasn't good because then I got shot. But they don't do that too often. And you want to try to blind fire if people get close to you, like that guy. I probably could have blind fired him. And otherwise, just try to be really accurate with your shooting, because they are pretty accurate with their aiming, and so you want to do the same. And use your painkillers here because after this room, there isn't really anything else as far as firefights that are that tricky, so it's okay for you to use your painkillers in this spot. And so immediately after, you don't get a chance to pick up ammo or anything, so you want to keep a little bit in your gun for this right now, because immediately after you finish killing the last guy there, you have to shoot these two dudes, and I always like to drop them on the ground and turn them into mincemeat. And then a couple more guys will come out of that door, and so you want to be careful of them. There's 2 or 3 of them. And if you get into a panic, doing what I just did then is effective if you have enough bullets to be able to do it. So sometimes panic firing and just sort of go for their body and legs, and they'll fall over, and that sort of incapacitates them for a minute. that works, although it's not the most graceful way of taking care of them. It's effective, so if you need to do that, do it. So I'm going to take the last couple of minutes here and continue to talk about what things I thought were challenging on old school versus hardcore. And in general, I found that the areas in old school that were challenging because of lack of cover and or the power and precision of the enemies. And so some of those areas are similarly challenging in hardcore, but some are not, because you can use painkillers and get the last chance, and that helps you out a lot. And for old school, even if you had painkillers and could use them, either you couldn't monitor them efficiently enough to be able to take one when you got damaged, or the enemies just hit you too much and too often while you were in a lack of cover to be able to deal with them effectively. And so there are a couple of guys down here, and the only one that you really want to watch out for is the one that's in the bus. So make sure you kill him, and you should be okay with this part right here. And so I'll keep talking about hardcore versus old school. And so I'm going to give one example of that I found in old school was super challenging, was that room that I sort of harped on about, with very little cover. All of it was destructible in Chapter 6 in the office. And so that in old school sucked. And it sucked in hardcore too, but it wasn't as bad. I found I was able to manage it pretty well. I replayed it a couple of times just because I wanted to try to conserve the painkillers, and when I felt like I used too many, I would start the checkpoint over, but I didn't find it as unmanageable at all, because the last chance just made a huge difference in that section. And there are a couple of spots like that, and I may talk a bit more about those in a later video, but just wanted to put it out there. And this is the end of this video, and we'll continue in the next. So thanks for watching. I'll see you in part 2.